So I want to take you back a moment. One I've seen again and again and again in my clinic, in my coaching, and honestly, one that I've lived through myself. You finish a program, you feel that shift, you say, this time, I got it. It's going to be on. It's me. We're motivated. But then something happens. A hard week, a missed walk, one skipped meal, and before you know it, you're right back in the rhythm that doesn't reflect the intention. And you start to wonder, man, what's wrong with me? Am I ever going to get this right? Why am I slipping back into that very problem I thought I had left behind? It was there. I did it. I got over it. Tonight, we're not here to blame. We're not here to accuse. We're here to clarify. Because if you've completed the full Limitless Living Health Action Plan, all 7 pillars, if you've been with us as we talked about strategy and walking and strength training, talked about balanced bites, talked about rest and restoration, talked about strategy and planning, talked about all the different things, then you haven't just collected knowledge. You've activated a new version of yourself. But now we've got to install it. We've got to say, what do we do next? And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about as we move into this episode. Thank you for coming by. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications. We're going to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music so that you know that you are welcomed into this space. If you do have a question, go ahead and put that question in the comments because we want to answer that. We want to get to it as soon as we can. And also, if you have been with us, you know how we do. I've got my monitors that we're going to take a look at here in just a minute. I've got my Keto Mojo and my Contour. Let's go ahead and, there we go. My Keto Mojo and my Contour. And then right below me, that is my Dexcom Clarity Report, which we'll take a look at here in a minute to see what's been going on with my blood sugars. Now, the other thing is, if you have been walking along with us, if you've been in the process, if you've been on the journey, then you know that we've been doing lots of things on our channel. There's a lot of movement, a lot of activity that's going on. And let me pull one of these up. One of the things that we've been working on is our strength, strategy, and mindset. And this is a space where we take the time to provide you with a structure so that you can implement some of the things that we've learned in our Limitless Living Health Action Plan. One of those things is strength training, right? So strength, strategy, and mindset. And so here I am out in my little workout area, and we're doing some weights. We're doing some squats. We're doing some dumbbell presses. We're doing some curls. Let me see. Where am I? Yeah, there we go. We're doing some squats there. Okay. And let's see. So at some point here, I'm on the floor doing some dead bugs. I'm doing some hammer curls. So one thing that's going on the channel is that we're walking through this process. We are on day number 75, I believe. Let's see, what does that say? 72. I was jumping ahead of myself. The other thing that's on the channel is our 100-day walk to consistency. If you've not been walking with us, you want to make sure you do that. Now, just because we are doing the strength, strategy, and mindset doesn't mean that we've forgotten about the walking. So that is a simple thing that you can do. In fact, that was pillar number 1 as we moved through the Limitless Living Health Action Plan. So I want to make sure that you have not forgotten about our 100-day walk to consistency. It still is something that you can do and that you can implement in your day, right? So here I am out walking. Okay. So all the pillars that we've been talking about, the pillars as we walk through the health action plan, the pillars are there, and there is a structure that is set up for you to jump in, for you to connect, for you to be a part of the process. The other thing that's happening, again, is Also on the channel, we do our weekly check-ins. And if you were with us today, you saw that I actually started my fast today. That's right, started the fast today. There are some things going on this week and some scheduling things that I've got to deal with. And so we started our fast today, and you saw what I ate as I ended my eating window and started the fast. So that's another one, another place where you can join us, and that's going on a weekly basis as we move through the different spaces. So this is me in my office today when we went live. Let's see, let's do this. You get to see all the stuff that's okay. Let's make a change. All right. Okay, let's do this. For some reason it's not getting large. But anyway, so we're out there, and in that space you got to see what I ate today as we ended our fast. Okay, here we are. As we ended our fast, or started our fast, and let's see, okay, there it is. Okay, just to show you that you can be anywhere and you can create a meal that you can eat. Okay, so we've got the 100-day walk to consistency. We've got the strength, strategy, and mindset. We've got the fasting check-ins that we're doing and the fasting process that we're doing. Of course, we've got our show here as we're walking through the various aspects of the health action plan, and as we continue the path to reverse our diabetes and improve our metabolism. So make sure that you are joining us for all of those various things. Now, I do want to say welcome to all of you wherever you are joining us from, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, and of course here on Facebook, and of course here on YouTube. And for those of you who are joining us from if you are joining us because you saw our content at your church, so shout out to the Atlanta Berea Church in Atlanta, shout out to the Riverside Church in Nashville, shout out to the Yazoo Church in Mississippi, and all of you wherever you're joining us from, or the Birmingham Ephesus Church in Birmingham, Alabama. If you are now joining us from those spaces, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. And we welcome you to the family and to what we're doing. So let's go ahead and we're going to hop over and take a look at blood sugars. And here is what my Libre is saying my blood sugar is right now. That is and we're looking at this number right here. So 74, boom, boom, boom. So 74 is what my blood sugar is. And you'll see down here close to, here's the graph, and you'll see that squiggly line. And so blood sugar started out right at about 100 earlier in the day, and then kind of changed as we moved through the day. And it never dropped below 70, but hovered right around 70. And of course, now it's 74. If we look at my Dexcom, same idea. This will come up here in just a minute. So 108 is what my blood sugar was. And down here is what my graph is. What I like about this is that I can actually put my finger on the graph, and you get to see what those numbers are running in the 118, 120, 121, 115, 106, 109, 122. Okay, and so we've been hovering, like I said, near 100. For most of the day, and that's this morning. Of course, that's my toothpaste effect. And so we jumped up to from 102 up to about 130, I think was the highest that we got. And then of course started coming, 131 is the highest that we got there. And then started coming down. And so when I ate my last meal, right at about 1 o'clock or thereabouts, right about here, blood sugar was 110, and you saw what I ate, and so the blood sugar went back up to 121, it looks like was the highest. Well, let's see, 124 was the highest, and then now is on its way back down, and is at 108. Okay, so that's what's been going on with blood sugar over the last little bit. Let's go ahead and get over and let's take a look at what my monitors are saying. So here's my Keto Mojo, and here is my Contour, and let's see, of course, yeah, let's go over here. And I've got my, let's see, I need a blue for the ketones, and then I've got a bunch of these. This is brown for the blood sugar, and I need a lancet. So if you're there, what do you think my ketones are going to be, right? So remember, I've not been fasting. Let's go ahead and get this all back over here. And I also need a strip for the contour. All right. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? Let's take a look at that and get this opened. Open the one for the blood sugar first. And see, that one always opens. It opens so nicely, and then the ketones always gives me trouble. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and open this one. And let's see. Okay, so that was a little better. And so here is my lancet. Let's go ahead and grab that. Open it up and see that's the lancet right there. And grab a finger. And boom. And not a brisk drop, but it was good enough. So we'll need to get 2 more of those. So 1 to get the contour going. I know that one we'll be able to do. Whether we get one for the, so 88 is what the Keto Mojo says. And while that's doing, I'm gonna make sure I get another drop of blood here. So 88, 95, and of course right there you'll see 108 is what the Dexcom says. So let me go ahead and get this out. Get a ketone strip. Boom, boom, boom. In there. And hopefully this is not dried, and get that started. Okay, I think that'll work. All right, let's get all this other stuff out of the way. And once again, what do you think it's gonna be? What do you think it's gonna be? Boom. All right, so point 2. So point 2, and I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get this thing to work. It's not worked for me the last couple of times. I'm not sure why it's not been syncing. Let's try it again. All right, and so while that works, so point 2. So ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 are considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 is considered therapeutic ketosis. So right now I am in the normal range. Those of you who've been out there and you've been kind of following along and you've been fasting, you understand the fluctuations in ketones. And we have actually one of our community members who, in his eating window, tries to maintain ketosis most of the time, and has actually been pretty good about doing so. And was on our live today. And a shout out to you. And he was down, I think, 175 pounds. Go ahead and pop that in the chat again. I think I do see you out there. Go ahead and pop that in the chat again. Let us know so we can help celebrate with you. In the meantime, let's go ahead and go over to my monitor. And here I am. You see my average blood sugar over the last 14 days is 117 with a glucose management indicator of 6.1. So if I were to get an A1C based on this number, based on the blood sugars I've had over the last 2 weeks, this is where my blood sugar would be, right? This is what my A1C would be, 6.1. And remember, the A1C is the GMI is a surrogate for the blood sugar. And I'm in target 99% of the time, target being anywhere from 70 to 180. If I change to a 90-day view, and let's go ahead and pull that up. So my average for over the last 90 days is 116 with a glucose management indicator, once again, 6.1. I'm in target 98% of the time, target being 70 to 180. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the actual blood sugars. And this is now blood sugars over the last, and we'll look back for the last 3 days or so. So this is where I am right now. So 110. And you'll see that we've been running in the low 100s, spiking up to maybe 120, 127. I think I saw the 130 is the highest that I've seen so far for this day. In the low 100s, that's up to midnight last night. And then going further into last evening, still in the 110s, low 100s. And right about here, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so that I think that was after lunch. Right, so we spiked up to about 181. And then back into the morning, 120s, 130s. Boom, 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 still in the low 1-teens. And then Saturday, right, once again, here is my one meal a day. So that was we ate a little late on Saturday. And so that was up to about 160. So that's my one meal. And as you know, when I am not fasting, when I'm not doing my my weekly fast, I still try to maintain about one meal a day. On weekends, it tends to sometimes be more than one meal, but I try to maintain that as much as I can. And notice that we're still in the low 100s up to maybe 130. Here's about 150, and then going into Friday. So Friday is when we ended the fast right here, about 109-ish. And you guys saw what I ate as we got into the rest of the day, and then had a second meal, right? So we broke the fast right about here. And so we had our salad, and I'm trying to remember what else did we have for that meal. And so there we are. We're spiked up a little bit to 140s, and then, right, so I'm eating into the evening, still 130s, 140s, 150s, and then started coming back down, and then ended up where we were into the next morning. So notice that over the course of that entire time, and one of the points that I want to make here is that as we're eating, okay, the concept of balanced bites is not okay, this is what I do for this moment, or hey, I'm eating this way on this special occasion. This is the idea that we are implementing as part of our eating plan. This is not to tell you you can't eat ice cream, or you can't eat cookies, or you can't eat whatever it is that you like. That's not the idea. But the idea is that as you think about food, your ideas or your thoughts about food should be keeping with our balanced bites ideas, so that for most of the time, and as you saw there, for most of the time, your blood sugars should be relatively even. There are times when you're going to eat something where the blood sugar is going to spike up, like you saw there, where my blood sugar went up to 170 on one of those days. But for most of the time, you want your blood sugars to remain as stable as possible. And the idea of balanced bites is not to say to you that you can't ever have whatever it is you like. As a matter of fact, this is just a holiday weekend, and so I smoked some chicken, and we cooked and we ate, and that is the idea that you are going to have times in your life when you are eating whatever, right? And that is not to say that you can't eat that, but as you are thinking about what your normal everyday meals are going to be, you have built into it your birthday, your anniversary, your friends and them coming over, mom and them who cook every weekend, church functions, and all of those things are built into your eating plan. So it's not oh my goodness, look at this thing that's happening and I'm going to eat that. Of course, I'm getting ahead of myself because we're going to be talking about some of that here in just a minute. So let's go ahead and let's take a look and let's say hello to some of our community members. I do see you there. So let me go ahead and come over here. And let's see, we've got Teresa. Hey, Teresa, what is going on? Teresa says, hey, doctor and everyone. She said, I miss you guys, and we miss you as well, Teresa. Thank you for coming through. Let me get back over there. Thank you for coming through. Steve says hello to everyone. Cornelia says hi, Dr. Woode, Teresa, and Steve. And Cornelia says we miss you too, Teresa. Boy, how are you? Hi. She says hi, everyone. Thank you for coming through. We've missed you. Haven't seen you in a little bit, so glad that you are here. And Cornelia saying hello to Bowie. Bowie said, whoa, 175 pounds is huge. Bowie says, hi, Cornelia. Hope everyone had a great 4th. Steve, I'm 172 pounds, down from 223. Wow. There you go. So Steve was on earlier with our pop-up live as we started our fast. And so I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge him and to say to him congratulations on the benefits that he's getting as he is continuing walking through this process. Okay? So as you come, you're seeing and you're hearing from real people that are saying, okay, when I have followed the process, when I am in this space, and I mentioned to you that Steve and his family, they try to maintain a ketogenic diet for most of the time. So his ketones usually are up, at least in the nutritional ketosis range, and the foods that they're eating, and he's enjoying the food. Right. As a matter of fact, if I can brag on the missus here for a little bit, makes very good creme brulee. Okay. So anyway, he said I'm 172 pounds. Bowie says that's amazing, Steve. Cornelia says congratulations, great job. Pamela, hey, she says hi everybody. Hey Pam. Bowie says hi Pam. Steve said Beth and I have been fasting since April of 24. Is become our way of life. I'm at my high school weight, and she's 10 to 15 away from her high school weight. Look at that. Fasting has been a great, been great for improving it. Yeah, so good for you, and congratulations to the missus as well. He says, improvement of our health. And Anthony, what's up, Anthony? Good evening, everybody. Good evening, people. Anthony, hey, man, glad that you are here. And glad to see you again. Haven't seen you in a minute, but glad that you're here. Bowie says hi to Anthony. Cornelia says, hey, Anthony. And Gian say, hey, Doc, and LLG. Man. So just glad that everybody's here. As I said, I welcome you all wherever you're joining us from. And a quick shout out again to all of those who are joining us from. And you guys may have heard me say that limitless living transcends what we do as we're talking here in this space. So when you go to your home, and when you go to your job, and when you go to your communities, and when you go wherever, limitless living is going with you. Okay, so it's not confined to this space. And so we've been in the process of talking to various churches in the area and actually in some states. And so they are implementing some limitless living ideas into their congregations. And so welcome to you. If you're joining us because you saw our content in one of those spaces, glad that you are here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's get into our conversation, because I'm excited about this. All right, here we go. Let's do that now. So, my hat's off to you. That's the first thing I want to say. My hat's off to you because you have been walking the path. You've been implementing, and you've been growing, and you've been learning, and you've been processing, and you've been strategizing, and you've walked through the health action plan. So kudos to you for everything that you've done and every choice that you've made so far in saying that I am doing what I want to do, what I need to do for my health. Okay, what do I need to do for my health? So let me ask you something a little deeper. Have you ever noticed that it's not the crash that takes you out? It's actually the drift. Not the one big failure, not the one big place where you say, okay, I've kind of gone back. It's not that big playing, but it's the slow, quiet erosion of your rhythm. It doesn't happen with a bang. It happens when you miss that walk, and then you miss it another day, and it becomes a third day. When meal prep gets pushed to the next week, when the fast doesn't happen this week, oh, we'll do that next week. When your schedule fills up and you say, oh, I'll get back to that on Monday. I've had that. That's the moment I want to talk about, because this is the invisible barrier that shows up right after growth. You finished the teaching. You felt the shift. You've been to the conference. You've heard all the stuff. You've read the book. But the question isn't just, did you understand? And in this case, it's not, did you understand the Limitless Living Health Action Plan? The question is, can your life hold the change you've activated? And that's your life. That is what life is. We think that, oh, this thing is something that is outside of our lives, and we do that thing, and then we get back to our lives. But that's not how it works. It's not that you haven't changed. It's not that you haven't activated the thoughts. It's not that you haven't activated the pillars. It's that your life wasn't built yet to support the new you. We talk about, right, limitless living, powered by the new you. Well, let's go ahead and let's name it. And we're naming it because when we name it, we have power over it. This is the invisible barrier that shows up after every breakthrough. You see, the old you, the old life, has muscle memory. It has routines. It has buffers. It has unconscious programming that doesn't care about the new goals. And when your mindset shifts, your system stays the same. Systems always win. Why? Because structure shapes behavior. Your brain defaults to what's been repeated over and over and over again. And your environment either supports your healing or sabotages it. So think back with me. What are the top 3 environmental, emotional, or social defaults that pull you back to the old you? A late night routine that leads to snacking? Maybe. Hands up. Right? The lack of prep time that leads to skipping workouts. Social circles that normalize, hey, yeah, we don't have to do that right now. Say it out loud. Name it. When you name it, you are claiming it. When you're naming it, you're getting power. You're saying, when you name it, you're saying that I am not succumbing to the invisible barrier that happens after growth. I remember I went to a conference years ago, and you've probably heard me tell this story. And at the end, it was a men's conference. And at the end of the conference, the speaker got up and he was trying to get us to make a commitment. And of course, some guys were standing, some guys were not standing. And he asked a question. And there's the question that really, even as I'm about to tell you this story, resonates with me. He says, when you look back and when your family thinks about this weekend, when you're talking about what happened this weekend, are you going to be saying, man, I went to this conference and I learned a bunch of stuff? Is your family going to say, well, I remember when daddy went away. I remember when my husband went away. When my brother, my father, my uncle, my cousin went away to that conference. And when they came back, nothing changed. Is that what they're going to say? Or are they going to say, man, I remember when daddy went away to that conference. And when he came back, our lives have not been the same. Our lives have been amazing. And the reason that question was asked was because that's what happens a lot. When people learn, they have the motivation and their minds expand. And then they go back. And gradually, slowly, things begin to happen that push them back into their old lives. And that's the invisible barrier that happens after growth. The next thing is that there's a specific kind of frustration that I hear. People who've done the work, and it usually sounds like this. I almost had it. I was doing so well, and then I stopped. Life got in the way. I know what to do, I just don't do it consistently. You can hear the disappointment that's coming through underneath, because it's not about not knowing, it's about not sustaining. Once again, I throw myself in that ring as well. For years, I knew. For years, I tried. For years, I did. For years, I restarted. And for years, I did not succeed. And when that happens, it doesn't just challenge your discipline. It starts to shake your belief. We did a show several weeks ago where we talked about how to trust your body again. And we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust our bodies because we think, man, nothing is going to work. And that's the real cost of the implementation gap. It doesn't just make progress harder. It makes you question if transformation is even possible for you. And not just is it possible, is it sustainable? But let me say this to you plainly. It's not your fault. Let me say that. You don't lack willpower. What you lack is structure, support, and systems. That's it. Remember, systems always win. And that's exactly what we're going to build. Here's how I define the implementation gap. It's the space between I know what to do and I'm doing it consistently without burning out. And that gap, it's filled with invisible weights. We've been doing our strength, strategy, and mindset. And those weights can get pretty intense. So what are some of the weights that we carry in this implementation gap? 1, schedule chaos. Things are going crazy. Things are not aligned. There's always something to do. I've got to take this one there. I've got to take that one there. I have my job, my church. I'm part of the civic organization. I'm part of the parent-teacher association. I do some stuff for my family and my mom and my dad and my cousin and. So schedule chaos. The next one is old identity scripts. Because as much as we've changed, as much as we've grown, the inner critic still reminds us of that time when we did that thing that wasn't supporting our goal. It still reminds you of that time that you tried that thing that failed. Or still reminds you of that time when, man, you really you were on top of the world. You were on the mountain. And you got self-complacent. And you just fell. The other one is disorganized environments. Right? If we are living in situations our office, our room, our house, our wherever, what we are in, a lot of times goes into us. And if we're disorganized in our environment, that shows up in our planning and in our implementation of the health action plan. Then there's social sabotage. Oh, what are you doing? You're so good. You don't have to do that today. Just try some of this stuff. Just try some of this. I told this story. I was with some friends. This was a couple years ago, and I was fasting, and we were sitting around, and I think we were. I had been in my fast for maybe a day or so, and got together with these friends, and I was continuing to fast. And one of them said to me, "Oh man, don't overdo it." Right? Meaning, you're in this fasting thing, you're right, but don't overdo it. And I thought to myself, I said, wait a minute. When I was sitting shoveling down ice cream and cookies and candies and cake, nobody ever said to me, don't overdo it. But now that I am in the space of trying to improve my health, then the comment is, don't overdo it. Now, as I say that, people have good intentions because they're interested in you not hurting yourself. They're interested in you not going overboard. Right? So a lot of times they'll say those things, but the social sabotage is huge. Oh, try this. It's not going to hurt. Oh man, you've been fasting for 24 hours. Just the taste is not going to bother you. Then there's the emotional buffering. Once again, my hand goes up. Emotional buffering. The buffering that happens when we are not facing the things that are going on in our lives, when we are not present, when we have not learned the rules and the tools, like the COPE model: clarify, observe, pause, execute. And so we emotionally buffer. We don't want to feel. And so when we are buffering emotionally, then we're looking for things that are going to assist us in the buffering. And often the things that assist us in the buffering are the things that take us off course. And then how about incomplete or rigid routines? Today I talked about starting the fast early, because I shifted my fast a day early because we have some things going on schedule-wise at the end of the week. And so I wanted to get my fast in, right? Because I want to get the fast in. Now, I said today on the show was that I made a decision to do that. I could just have easily have made the decision that I was not going to fast, or I was going to still do the regular fast, but I would end it a day early. I made the personal decision to do that, not because I was constrained to do that, but because I made the choice. You could easily, in your routine and in your day and in your schedule, have made the decision or the choice that you were not going to fast, that you were going to keep the same routine, that you may have fasted for one day rather than 3 days, or a different day. The routine is there to guide you. It's there to serve as a guardrail. It's there to serve as a blueprint, but it is not there to serve as shackles. And so the routines that we get into, if we don't allow ourselves the ability to adjust and to pivot, then the routine itself throws us off course, because our brain says, you know what? Yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. That's too restrictive. That's too confining. And we've just said, come on. We've said, you see this right here, limitless living? Limitless living says that we're not allowing anything to prevent us from doing what we need to do. Even the ideas that come to our mind that seem to pull us in and to cause us to be constrained within a space. No, we're not letting that happen. So when you keep starting over, it's not about willpower. Willpower is for sprints. Architecture, structure is for marathons. And your health journey, that is a marathon. That's why we don't just need plans, we need systems. Systems that reflect who we're becoming. Systems that protect our decisions on hard days. And y'all, the days are going to come. They're gonna happen, I promise you. So systems that make relapse harder and makes rhythms easier to do. The implementation gap. So one of the things that we can do, and I want you to do that right now, is I want you to think and we grab a piece of paper and write down or jot down what's one system that's missing or inconsistent in your life right now. What's one area where you're still relying on motivation instead of having a solid structure? You don't need to fix it all right here, right now. But naming it is the first step that gets you out of the gap. Limitless living is a blueprint. Now it's time to build the house. You've seen the space. You've seen the ability of the tools to make changes. You've seen in the community the things that are happening. You've seen what people are having, where people are having success. So why do we drift? Why do we drift without structure? Let me get clinical for a second. Your body at every level is designed for one thing: homeostasis. Homeostasis means that your body, your brain, your hormones, they all work to pull you back to what is familiar. One of the most fascinating things to me as an endocrinologist is one of the polyuria, polydipsia, polyphagia. Those are the three polys that happens in diabetes. So polydipsia, drinking a lot, polyphagia, eating a lot, and polyuria, peeing a lot. All three of those are designed and are happening because the body is trying to get back to the familiar. For example, let's take peeing a lot. A lot of diabetics don't understand. Their blood sugar goes up and the body pees. And they're running to the bathroom, right? 3, 4, 5 times an hour. They're getting up at night. They're tired because they can't stay asleep. They're driving. And within the space of an hour, as they're on the highway, they've got to stop 3, 4 times. When your blood sugar gets to about 180 or higher, the body says, I don't like that. And it makes you pee to get rid of the sugar so that the blood sugar comes back down below 180. Homeostasis. The body says, I don't like that. High blood pressure. The reason high blood pressure happens is because the body is trying to, one, get the same amount of nutrients to the organs with a compromised system, or in the midst of a compromised system. Mm-hmm. And so we get things like palpitation, lightheadedness, dizziness. Your blood vessels get stiffer with insulin. And the stiffness of the insulin causes the blood pressure to go up. When your body has excess energy, it has to do something with it. And so it sends it to storage so it doesn't keep floating around your blood. The body's trying to get back to the familiar. It's trying to get back to the familiar. That's why so many people can start a new plan and feel amazing. But then gradually they drift. Not because they're weak, but because their system is stronger than their strategy. And the system is what is currently in place. I want you to think about your life. You're trying to make a change. And you've been doing something for X number of years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. Eating, right? Let's take eating because that's what we're talking about. Well, one of the things we're talking about. And you are trying to change how you eat, change how you exercise, change how you live. And you are, I'm gonna do this thing, right? So we've got this one thing, I'm gonna do this thing. But your entire body, your entire environment, your entire life is built on a system. And remember, systems will outpace, will trump a plan every single time. If there's a system, the body goes back to it, the brain goes back to it. Neuroplasticity is real. That is the connections that our body makes, our brain makes. But it doesn't come from intention alone. It takes repetition, it takes safety, it takes feedback, and it takes direction. That's why when we did our 100-day walk to consistency, right? It was a 100-day walk to consistency and health. Because we had to prove to ourselves that we could do it. Self-efficacy says that I believe that I can make changes by my decisions, by my actions, and by my consistency. Why do I believe that? Not because it just popped into my head, not just because I dreamed it. Self-efficacy said it is based on evidence. And the evidence is what I've done in the past. So when we started a 100-day walk to consistency, there was no evidence. And on day 2, we had 1 day of evidence. And on day 3, we had 2 days of evidence. And on day 4, we had 3 days of evidence. And we built evidence every single day, every time you showed up, every time you pushed through, every time you didn't let the schedule stop you, every time you walked through the process, every time you were there, you gave another piece of evidence. You gave additional support to your inner coach that says, this is who I am now. And after 100 days, you had 100 pieces of evidence that says, this is what we do. This is who we are. As we're going through the strength, strategy, and mindset, we're on day 72. You have now 72 days of evidence that supports your self-efficacy, that says, I am in the process of building a person. I'm in the process of creating a system that's not reliant on my motivation, but a system that's based on my consistency, and I can do this because I've been doing it. If you've not started doing so yet, I encourage you, if you've been following us, the I Can Journal, right? If you don't know what that is, go watch one of the episodes. If you want to look at a particular thing, if you want to be a certain way, if you want to lock in a lifestyle, you need more than just goals. You need systems. You need an architecture. And here's what the science shows you must have. You must have cues for clarity. What starts the routine? What is the thing that initiates it? Make it unmissable. Make it unmissable. You have to have a cue. Hey, what am I doing? Oh, wow, look at this. It's morning. I usually walk in the morning. Oh, wow, look at this. It's lunchtime. Oh, okay, I'm thinking about balanced bites. Clarity. What starts the routine? What's the thing that starts the routine? Friction reduction. Make your tools and timing work with you, not against you. I gave the example today about starting your intermittent fasting at 5 o'clock when the family sits down at 6 o'clock to eat. Automatically, you've started some friction. You created friction. That's not how we want the tools to work. We want the tools to be usable in a way that doesn't cause further challenges. Identity anchoring. Remind yourself daily, this is who I am now. When your systems reinforce your identity, consistency becomes easier than chaos. So let me show you where we're headed. We're going to come back and we're going to talk more. Because the limitless living that we do is powered, you see it there, powered by us. But the us that has the power needs structure and support. So we're going to look at why behavior change often feels like failure when it's actually just missing design. It's not failure. We're going to talk about how to build structure that honors your real life, not some perfect plan. And you guys have seen me talk about the places where I have my issues. One of my things is rest and restoration. One of my things are those Cadburys that I keep getting at the grocery store. So my plan has to include the places where I am at my most vulnerable. I can make a plan that doesn't have them. Say, okay, I can ignore that, but that's not real life. And I talk and I share about those because I need you to understand that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up. And for those of you who are ready, we'll talk about the Limitless Living Accelerator. This isn't about starting something new. This isn't about continuing in your old behavior. It's about walking in what you've already begun, but with support, repetition, feedback, identity alignment. If you've ever thought, I know what to do, I just need some help doing it consistently. You want to make sure that you are engaged in our community. You want to make sure that you are here. As you saw people here who are talking about the benefits that they're getting, the things that are going on in their lives, being their high school weight for the first time in years. We're building the next step for those who are ready to stop collecting content and start building momentum that lasts. The real shift, when health is no longer a task you do, it's a person that you've become. Let's say it again. The shift is when health is no longer a task that I've got to do, but it is the person that I have become. That's when we have sustainable growth. So here's what we've uncovered tonight. It's not about trying harder. It's about finding more time. And it's not about finding more time. It's not even about motivation. It's about building a life that supports the person you're becoming. Your systems matter. Your rhythm matters. Your identity matters. And the truth is, transformation doesn't stick without structure. That's why we are talking about the you that powers limitless living. The health action plan gave you the foundation. Now we're shifting into the framework that holds it all together when life gets loud. And that's where we go next. That's where we head. No more tips, no more theory, but a plan that works because it fits you. A system that doesn't crumble under stress. A life that reflects you, the new identity, day in and day out. Because limitless living is powered by the new you. And we're going to be back as we talk more about this. All right. And so, whenever I have our conversations, you hear me say at the end that this is one of my favorite. As a matter of fact, I do that whenever I'm talking about when we did the 100-day walk to consistency, when we did the strength, strategy, and mindset. There are so many things that are interconnected. And you remember when we did the domains of health, one of the points that I made is that we often talk about our lives as though the life things are all separate from each other. And we talk about disease processes as though they're all separate from each other, but they are all integrated. And the systems that we have are tremendous in their abilities to take us where we need to go if we develop, if we get involved, if we implement the systems. And in the absence of a system that moves you forward, the default system takes place. And the default system is what we've been doing. This default system is what has been happening for many of us for years. For me, for years. And it's not until we implement a system that takes us in the direction of our rhythm, alignment, and structure, that we get the success that we need. Awesome. Let me go ahead and let's hop over and let's say I see some of our community members. I think I heard some comments or some chimes in there. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Oh, so let's go back. So Anthony says, I think that's where we stopped. So, okay, Cornelia was saying hi to Gian. Hi, sis, from Gian. Anthony says, good to be back, Doc, boy. Cornelia. Anthony said, preach. Hi, Gian. Hi, boy, from Gian. Amazing, Steve. Great job. Boy says, I feel that I had a great routine during the school year, but having my kids home for summer break derailed my schedule and system. Trying to remember to put myself first so I can support others better. I love that. Gian said, Booyah, I understand. I don't like school vacation. It occurred to me recently that summer, right? So we talk about summer vacation and so forth. Summer vacation is only a thing if you have kids that are still at home, if you have young people around. But I was thinking the other day that when my son leaves, summer is really just another day, another month, right? Because we defined summer because, because school is out, the kids are home, and then summer ends, well, other than the season. But practically speaking at home, when school goes back into session, then summer is over. And we do all the things, we do all the planning, we do all that during the summertime. So it's interesting that you talk about schedules getting off during that time, because it is a thing, right? Winter break, summer break, holidays, right? So we have those places where our schedules haven't allowed us to be consistent in those spaces. And so remember, the truth is transformation doesn't stick without structure. And as we are doing our strength, strategy, and mindset, one of the things that I've told everyone, and if you've been following us, you understand, you need a 5-minute routine. So when I'm out exercising, we do a 30 to 45 minute circuit, right? So we talk and go through the thing. But I also have a 5-minute circuit that I do. So, later this week, we're going to have some traveling. And so I've got my 5-minute circuit that I'm going to do when I'm not able to do the complete one. My brain will say, okay, you have accomplished today what you intended and what you set out to do. That's my structure. That's my system. So often we think, for example, taking exercise, whatever it is, walking, strength training, we think that we've got to have 30 minutes to go walk or 30 minutes to go do our strength training, but we don't. If you got 2 minutes, you can do some squats. If you've been following us, we've been doing the arm twist or the air twists, right? So you can do that. 10 forward, 10 backwards. I can do some squats right here. I can hold onto the wall. I can do some cross-body leg swings. If I'm at the house, I can get on the ground and I can do some dead bugs. I can do some pelvic tilts. All of that. Without having an hour to go through the process. We can do that. And so for everyone, once again, remember that our plan, our system is based on the Triple E formula for success. Everything that I talk about, everything that I go through is with the intention of educating, empowering, and encouraging. We educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcasts. We empower with the tools that we learn. And we encourage with the community. Educate, empower, and encourage. And the thing that I want you to understand, and the thing that I want you to get, and the thing that I look for when I'm talking to people, I'm glad that you've got the education. I'm glad that you got the tools. I'm glad that you are encouraged. But when I'm looking at what's going on, when I'm looking at your system, my question is there a rhythm? What is the tenure of your life? Is there an alignment? Are the things that you do consistent with where you say you want to go? And is there rhythm, alignment, and structure? And is there structure? And if those things are in place, remember, slow and steady gets the job done. I've had people say to me, man, I'm trying to lose weight. And I say, how much have you lost? They say, well, I've lost 10 pounds. Right, but I can't get the rest of it off. It's coming off so slow. And I say to them, well, how long did it take you to put the weight on? And they say, man, I've been putting on weight for 15 years. Slow and steady gets the job done. So we're not looking for a overnight transformation. Slow and steady, consistent structure, consistent systems gets the job done. We will have some changes in our schedule this week. Remember that, so I've got some scheduling things later this week that we're going to be, our family is going to be involved with. And so we started our fast today. Yay. We started our fast today. We'll be doing our pop-up live tomorrow. I will likely be doing a show we do our show on Wednesday like we normally do. But we'll end the show or end the fast early this week. So keep an eye out for the pop-up lives. On Wednesday, we'll definitely do a show, but on Wednesday, we'll probably be at 24. We'll probably be at 48 hours at that time when we do our show on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, you'll hear more about what we're going to do for Thursday, because I'm still trying to figure that out depending on what my technology availability is going to be as we move through the rest of this week. Okay, so a little offbeat for this week. But we will still have our show. If you are in our community, make sure you come into the after the show, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. If you've not joined our community, go ahead. There's a button down here somewhere that says join. Make sure you get there, and keep an eye out for the Limitless Living Accelerator, which I mentioned earlier in our show as we went through, and we'll talk more about that the next time we meet. And remember that in this space, it is you, it is your actions, it is your behaviors that powers everything else. You have unlimited potential, unlimited ability. You are the driving force behind your success. And I encourage you, as we always do, to take advantage of that. I'm glad that you're here. I'm always glad to be with you. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives, which says we're not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent us from doing what we need to do. We are showing up with our best selves, our best health, and the best plans for our life. Now go live a limitless life, and we'll see you at our next show. All right, good night, everybody.